Australia's high skin cancer rates mean sunscreen is crucial under the unforgiving Australian sun. Consumer Group Choice tested 20 popular sunscreens labelled as SPF 50 and says 16 didn't meet the protection promised on the label.
Australia's sunscreen scandal is growing tonight, with more brands pulled from the shelves over SPF concerns.
Sunscreen. We're told it's the one thing that protects us from premature aging. So, we reach for the max protection. You're in the aisle. You see SPF 50 and SPF 100. You grab the 100. It's double the number, so it's double the protection, right? Wrong. The difference between SPF 50 and SPF 100 isn't double. It's 1%. And that 1% is just the start of the lie. It's why Asian and European sunscreens are in a completely different league. And why, in places like the US, something doesn't add up. Think about it. Skin cancer rates are climbing. At the exact same time, sunscreen use is skyrocketing. How is that possible? It's possible because you've been sold a false sense of security. That giant number on the bottle, it's not what you think it is. SPF is a measurement for one thing, a sunburn. It tells you almost nothing about the silent, invisible ray UVA, the one that actually causes aging and cancer. You've been trained to avoid the burn, while being left completely exposed to the real danger. This is the sunscreen scandal. Today, we are exposing the entire lie. First, we'll break down what that SPF number really means. Then, I'll show you why European and Asian sunscreens are 20 years ahead of the US. And finally, I'll give you the real 3-step solution to actually protect yourself. You want to understand your sunscreen SPF lie? It all starts with the big numbers on the bottle. You see SPF 30. That blocks 97% of UVB rays. Then you see SPF 50, which blocks 98%. That's just 1% more protection. And that super expensive SPF 100, it blocks 99%. Again, just 1% more. You are paying a premium for a single percentage point of protection. Is that worth it? Well, that's only the first part of the lie. Because the real lie is that you've never actually gotten that 99% protection. Not even close. Why? Because that number on the bottle isn't real. It's a lab number, and the lab test is nothing like real life. In the lab, scientists slather on a super thick layer of sunscreen. How thick? Think of a full shot glass just for your body, or a half teaspoon just for your face. Be honest. Who actually uses that much? Studies show most of us use way less. We use about 1/4 of that tested amount. And here's the kicker. When you use less sunscreen, the protection doesn't just go down a little. It drops off a cliff. That SPF 50 you paid for, it's not protecting you like SPF 25. It's not even SPF 10. It's protecting you like an SPF 4. You paid for 50, you got 4. But the truth is, this whole numbers game is just a distraction. Because the SPF test isn't just unrealistic. It was designed from the very beginning to measure the wrong thing entirely. The SPF test wasn't just unrealistic. It was invented to solve the wrong problem. Back in the 1960s, people weren't worried about skin cancer. They were worried about sunburns. The goal wasn't safety. The goal was to get a healthy tan without the painful burn. So in 1962, a chemist named Franz Greiter invented the SPF system. And he designed it to answer one single question. How long can I stay in the sun before I turn red? The entire system was built to measure comfort, not health. And a sunburn is only half the story. Think of sunlight as 2 types of attackers. First, you have the flaming arrows. These are the UVB rays, the burn rays. They hit the top of your skin, causing that painful red burn. You see it, you feel it, that's a sunburn. But then, you have the silent spies. These are the UVA rays, the aging and cancer rays. They don't cause a burn. They sneak deep into your skin, where you can't see them and you can't feel them. And this is the problem. These silent spies are the main cause of deep wrinkles and deadly skin cancer. Get this, UVA rays are 500 times more common than the burning UVB rays, and they go right through glass, right through your car window. So that big SPF number on the bottle, SPF 50, SPF 100. It only measures protection against the flaming arrows. The burn, it tells you almost nothing about your protection from the silent spies that cause cancer. The SPF system is a castle shield, designed only to stop flaming arrows, while leaving the front gate wide open for an army of spies to walk right in. And the one US agency that could have fixed this made the problem permanent. The US agency that could have fixed the silent spy problem was the FDA. But in 1978, they made a fatal mistake. They decided to regulate sunscreen as an over-the-counter drug like Tylenol, not a cosmetic like makeup. That sounds like a good thing, right? Stricter, safer. It was a disaster in disguise. It created a bureaucratic nightmare because now getting a new sunscreen filter approved in the US was as hard, as slow, and as expensive as getting a new heart medication approved. So companies just stopped trying. They gave up. And this is the core of the scandal. For over 20 years, the US has not approved a single modern sunscreen filter. Nothing. While US technology was frozen in time, Europe and Asia, where sunscreen is a cosmetic, were rapidly innovating. They invented new, safer, far superior filters. Filters designed specifically to stop the silent spy UVA rays. Here's the perfect example. The La Roche-Posay sunscreen you buy in Paris is not the same one you buy in New York. The European version has modern, superior filters that L'Oreal invented. But those ingredients are banned in the US by the FDA. So L'Oreal is forced to sell Americans a completely different, older formula just to meet FDA regulations. This created what's known as the UVA Gap. Americans are stuck with 1990s era technology, think Neutrogena or Banana Boat, while the rest of the world gets 2025 level protection in a Biore sunscreen from Japan or a La Roche-Posay from France. So, how did the FDA fix this gap? They created this, the broad spectrum label. What does broad spectrum legally mean? It means the product supposedly protects you from both types of rays, UVB and UVA. But this label is a lie. This is the most important part to understand. In the United States, the broad spectrum test is a simple pass or fail. It is not a grade. It's called the critical wavelength test. Scientists shine UV light through the sunscreen to pass and get that broad spectrum label. The sunscreen just has to absorb some UVA. But here's the thing. It is shockingly easy to pass. How's easy? A 2017 study tested 20 popular US sunscreens. 95% of them passed the US broad spectrum test, but nearly half of them were so bad at blocking UVA rays, they would be illegal to sell in Europe. So the US is stuck with inferior products that pass a laughably low standard. But it gets worse because the products themselves can't even be trusted. This is where the entire system collapses. Because it's not just that the standards are flawed, the products themselves are failing. This isn't a theory, it's been proven. Scandal number 1, the efficacy lie. An Australian consumer group, Choice, did what the regulators wouldn't. They independently tested popular sunscreens. The results? Horrifying. Multiple brands labeled SPF 50+ were so ineffective, they actually tested as SPF 4. Let me say that again. They promised SPF 50. They delivered SPF 4.
The worst performer was also the most expensive, an ultraviolet product which returned an SPF of just 4. The company disputes that and says its own testing shows an SPF of above 60.
Worst performer, Ultraviolet's Lean Screen, which was pulled from shelves after testing revealed the 50+ brand showed an SPF of 4.
This wasn't one bad brand. It was a systemic failure. The lab tests the brands are paying for are a lie. Scandal number 2, the contamination lie. And this one is even worse. It's not just about efficacy, it's about safety. In 2021, a small independent lab named Valagure tested sunscreens straight off the shelf. They found benzene. Benzene is never supposed to be an ingredient in sunscreen. Benzene isn't just some scary chemical. It's a Class 1 human carcinogen. It is on the exact same list as asbestos, and it was a manufacturing mistake. Those 78 contaminated batches, mostly from Neutrogena and Aveeno, were recalled. But the real scandal is this. It proved that a company's quality control was so bad, a known carcinogen could get into the bottle, and they didn't even catch it. An independent lab had to find it for them. Johnson & Johnson was hit with a wave of class action lawsuits. In 2023, their new company, Kenvue, agreed to an $8.3 million settlement just to make one of them go away. So this is the reality. The SPF number is a fantasy. The broad spectrum label is a joke. And the final product in the bottle might be contaminated. So, what does real protection actually look like? What is the real SPF lie? It's not just the 1% difference. The real lie is the false sense of security it gives you. This is the sunscreen paradox. The reason skin cancer rates are climbing is that we've all been trained to use SPF 100 as a permission slip to stay in the sun for hours. You think you're safe because you're not burning. But all that time, you are soaking up a massive cumulative dose of those silent spy UVA rays. The industry sold you a shield to stop the flaming arrows, while leaving you completely defenseless against the silent spies. So, it's time to stop playing their game. Here is your new action plan for real sun safety. And the first rule is, sunscreen is your last line of defense, not your first. Real protection is a 3-layer system. Layer 1, avoidance. This is the most effective, and it's free. Stay out of the peak sun from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Layer 2, clothing. This is the real SPF. Look for clothes with a UPF rating ultraviolet protection factor. A UPF 50 shirt guarantees all day 98% protection that doesn't rub off, sweat off, or get applied wrong. Layer 3, sunscreen. After all that, for the skin that's left, then you use sunscreen. But how do you find a good one? As a baseline, yes, you still want at least SPF 30. But remember, that only protects you from the flaming arrows. The most important part is the silent spy UVA protection. And the US doesn't give you a grade for this. That's the scandal. Instead, you have to look for the real grades on international sunscreens. In Europe, you look for this simple logo, a UVA inside a circle. This is a legal guarantee that the UVA protection is at least 1/3 of the SPF number. It is a strict, trustworthy standard. In Asia, you look for the PA system. You want to find PA++++, 4 pluses. This is the highest level of UVA defense you can get. Stop trusting the fantasy number on the front. Start reading the real guarantee on the back. Because the SPF number only tells you half the story, and it's the less important half. So the next time you're in that aisle, you'll know the secret. You're no longer choosing between SPF 50 and 100. You're choosing between a number and the truth. Now, you can finally make the right choice. And if this video empowered you, subscribe for more secrets. The beauty industry doesn't want you to know. Thank you for watching. Stay curious.